But the narrative that I hear from most African American black ladies, that if they go to white men, it's because they feel more financially stable with a white man.
So I needed to learn how to calm down and let other people make decisions. I needed to learn how to delegate. That very mindset was killing me because I was doing that in my home. I was doing that everywhere else in areas of submission where it wasn't fruitful.
Now that might be very controversial. But before we hop into today's show, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you are the first to be notified every single time we drop our videos. Now, let's hop into today's show.
Hey, yo. Welcome to the table, yeah, yeah. We gon' get real, we gon' get right. Oh, building up wealth, we gon' give life. Welcome to the table, wealth, yeah. Welcome to the table, build wealth, life. Welcome to the table.
Nicole, man, I want to get straight into it because I think that your story is going to be impactful today.
Sure.
I met you almost 6-7 years ago.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And when I met you, and I'm just going to say it, like, you were in a different season in your life. On the business side, you were winning.
Oh, yeah. I still am.
Absolutely. You were making millions. You were living in a big old mansion in Atlanta.
Yeah.
A nice little family. And then I wake up 6-7 years later, you're in LA.
Yeah.
You're in a new situation, and I'm gonna be honest with you, not to be disrespectful. You look healthier and you look happier.
I am all of those things, 100%. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was externally thriving, but internally, I mean, I was falling apart.
Were you?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. In your memoir that's coming out here, actually in a couple of days.
Yes.
October 10th.
Yes, nothing is missing.
Nothing is missing. You start off the book very interesting.
I do.
You went to LA.
I did.
California, my home. My home. With just 3 suitcases.
I did.
Not the things that I saw in Atlanta.
No, I left everything behind. I wasn't well, you know. I'd come to the place where, you know, people who followed me online know my story. They know that I adopted 3 girls at age 28, you know, from the side of the street, sisters, raised them over now 10 years. We went through the pandemic. You know, my middle one had stage 4 cancer. She survived that. I built this business. I was, like you said, thriving home. I had all the material trappings of a good life. You know, everyone could see that. And I was happy. I think a lot of people think that if you have a life or a marriage that doesn't work, it means you're not happy. No, I was happy. I just wasn't fulfilled. My marriage wasn't fruitful. And I knew that if I had all the material things, I couldn't be done yet. So what was God calling over my life? Something felt missing. And that was why I had to pick up. I also was experiencing health issues, you know. So I landed in California and looked in the mirror one day and half my face was drooping. My blood pressure was 173 over 153. I was, you know, 30 pounds overweight. I just wasn't well. And that was when I knew something had to change.
What took you there? Because I think there's a lot of ladies watching
right
now, and I think that you're going to inspire them because some are watching right now and they know that they need to shift, but they're scared to make that shift because of the material success that they have, or because of the look they have right now, and they don't know what the next season will be if they make that transition. When did you know, in your heart, in your core, making millions with a great family there, and you was like, hey, I gotta shift if I'm gonna make more, if I'm gonna have more impact, and basically if I'm gonna be healthier.
Right, right. I think that what's great about my book is that I am talking about that.
Okay.
I talk about how so much of what I was doing and building was driven from the trauma of poverty. I grew up with nothing. Both of my parents were Ghanaian immigrants, you know, in DC, and I was always told that if I could fill the gap between having enough food, having enough shelter, having that support, having the accolades, that everything else would fall into place, you know, right down to picking a partner based on what's on paper, you know, and making sure I was checking all those marks. And that worked for 12 years, you know, but I think a lot of women don't realize that, at least until it's too late, that money is a tool and the material objects don't ever take away or add to your ability to make more money or to show up in the world. So you really have to pursue your purpose. You have to pursue what's meaningful because that's the only thing that sustains.
What is purposeful and what is meaningful for Nicole in today's day and time?
I'm not gonna lie, that's part of figuring it out.
Yeah.
You know, and I've learned that this concept of purpose always sounds like a destination, like something I need to go to. I need to get to my purpose. I need to find my purpose. But I'm finding a little bit of it every day. So I just want to make sure every day I'm doing things that are meaningful. It matters a lot to me to be healthy, to be in a great partnership. So I have a fiance who is incredible, and I want to support him and see him thrive, and he's doing the same for me. And then I also want to be a great mom, and I want to have more children. So right now, if everything I'm doing kind of fits in with that, I know that whatever it is that God uprooted me from Atlanta for, you know, I'm still going to meet.
You didn't tell me you was engaged. I just want you to know that.
I am. You couldn't tell?
I saw the ring, you know what I'm saying? But you didn't tell me that you was engaged.
Listen, look, I don't date forever.
Hey, put that ring up. Put Jay, put that CJJ one up. Let them see that ring, boy.
I don't.
Wow.
I don't stay on the market for long. I'm very blessed. He's a good one. I'm grateful.
Jesus. You said something. I normally don't go there, but it's like I want to go there. You know what I'm saying? Because I think.
Well, and you know me, so we could talk about
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, I try not to go there with some people because they're like, But Nicole, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this first.
Sure.
You're a strong, I wouldn't say independent, but I would say you are a strong business woman.
I'm strong in all ways. Like
Right.
I'm a lot. Like I can true Proverbs 31. I can grow my own food in the garden. I can tend the soil. I can knit. I even fix a little light HVAC and electronics. You know what I mean? Like I am truly self-sufficient in all ways, partly because I'm Ghanaian. That's how we were raised, you know.
I was about to say, where did it come from?
Culturally. So I talk about this in my book that very early on I learned to become self-sufficient, to ask questions, to pursue what I need. So even though I would do that with a little bit of fear and anxiety like anyone else, I never had any hesitancy about if there was something I wanted or needed to go out there and get it and make it happen and not worry about other people providing it for me.
Yeah.
So I think that, and you know, just keeping it all the way real, we come from a culture where I almost feel like women are crippled into thinking that we need a man to provide. That's like very elevated, right now. Like where it's just elevated, this concept of, it's weird, the juxtaposition of on one side, it's I'm a boss, I get my own paper, I do it myself. But then on the other side, it's my man, you know? And what people don't realize is I've had ultimate freedom because I got it all myself, and I also have a man, you know? So it's both. And I don't rely on a man to do anything for me, but that also doesn't mean that I don't know how to be a wife. Like God bred me to be a wife, you know? So even though I got divorced, I'm so excited about being a wife again because that is me in my best form.
I often get questions about life insurance, where to buy, how to find affordable rates, the simplest application process, and most importantly, where to secure coverage instantly. Like, people don't want to wait a long time. They want the coverage right now. Giving the startling statistic that nearly 40% of African Americans do not have life insurance coverage today, it's even more critical to address these questions. My recommendation to all these questions is simple. My friends over at Ethos Life Insurance. These are the people who hold my life insurance policy. You see, their mission is to simplify life insurance and make it accessible online to everyone. No paperwork, no medical exams, or check this out, no blood tests. You simply answer some health questions online, and just like that, you could secure coverage the exact same day. But the cherry on the top, family, Ethos offers an incredible deal that I wish I had when I signed up with them for my life insurance policy about 2 years ago. You see, when you secure a life insurance policy through them, they will throw in a will and estate plan for 100% free. I'm tripping and I'm excited at the same time because I personally spent $2,500 on my estate plan at the beginning of this year. So getting it free with a life insurance policy that might cost you as low as $50, that's a no-brainer. I mean, like none. Don't just take my word for it. You see, Tanner R., a customer, secured a $500,000 30-year policy without a physical exam through Ethos. He says the price was great. The process was completely easy. You see, Ethos truly values our time. You see, Alex got approved for a $1 million policy in just 5 minutes. She said, simple and straight to the point. Comments were, surprisingly, user-friendly and great communication. So, are you ready to protect your family's financial future? Don't let this statistic define you. I want you to get covered today and get a will and get the life insurance policy and get the what's it called? The estate plan for 100% free. All you gotta do is go to anthonyoneal.com/ethos. Again, that is anthonyoneal.com/ethos. Secure your coverage today and ensure peace of mind for your loved ones. All right, let's get back to today's show.
Like, I love it. It's not for everybody, just like not everyone's meant to be a mom. You know what I mean? Like, I'm meant to be a wife and a mom. Like, I operate best, I make the most money, I thrive in the state of union. That works for me, but it is not for everyone.
You know, I have a problem, and maybe you can help me understand why.
Okay.
Why I may have a problem with it, but why? Because the way you just said it, I didn't feel bad when you said it.
Sure.
But I don't like the term boss woman. Because I'm not an employee as your partner.
I think people don't even mean it that way. I think people mean it as boss as in, like, you know, she understands how to make executive decisions.
Yes.
Like, boss as a behavior, you know, not as a title.
Yeah.
You know, so like in my household, you know, and I'll bring it up, you know, my man, you know, is in charge, you know, and I don't mean that in a tells me what to do, you know, go fetch this, go sweep this or whatever, but there is a respect through, you know, I say this regularly, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, I follow Jesus, you know, and for me, I understand submission in a whole new way because I spent years submitting to the wrong man. And during that time in between divorce and my new relationship, and I talk about this in my book, I really had to sort out while writing this book, do I even want to be a wife again? I mean, I was asking myself all sorts of questions, like, am I meant to be single? Do I even want to be a wife? Because when you're divorced and you leave with 3 suitcases, you can write a new life. I mean, I could have popped up blonde pixie cut, you know, dating women if I wanted to, because people do that. You know, they just decide who they are and they proceed, you know, they pick a new life. And for me, it was, no, like, I like being a wife, so what went wrong? I like having a home. What went wrong? I like being a mom. What went wrong? And I realized it wasn't even that my partner was wrong. It was that I was submitting to the wrong man. Submission is still good for me, but I was submitting to the wrong man.
Someone of your caliber making millions using that word submission. I know some people are probably cringing right now.
I know they're cringing, and it's because the word submission always goes with money, and that's the problem. So if I can get my own money, if I can buy my own things, am I not still empowered because no man can ever buy it's the greatest gift I can give to my husband would be to submit to him because he can't give me anything I can't get myself. So the thing that makes me so happy is that I met a man who does not make as much as I make because if I'm on...
Wait.
Oh, you're like, this is just, people think it's crazy, but it's
I brought you on the show to talk about how ladies can get the bag, and you taking it over here.
But it is about getting the bag, though.
I feel you.
It is about getting the
pause.
bag. Yes.
I'm going to call you out. I got to let the people know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But put a picture up on the screen of her husband.
Oh, here we go.
I just got to say it. Because, I mean, I think it's an important question. You said it.
Yeah.
Nicole. You're a successful black woman, and you're married to a white man.
Yes.
And I love all people very clearly. Nicole knows that. But the narrative in 2023 is, and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, don't come for me.
Don't come for me either. I was like, don't choose me instead.
Right.
Yeah, it's his table. Come for him.
Yeah, it's my table. But the narrative that I hear from most African American black ladies, that if they go to white men, it's because they feel more financially stable with a white man. You just said that's not your case at all.
So I'm not even familiar with that narrative just because I've always been worried about getting my own money. Like, I have never dated anyone. That's not true. I've gone on a couple of dates with men who made more than me, but they weren't interested in a wife or something serious. They were interested in purchasing me to, like, have at home or, you know, that. Like,
I got you.
I was another object, like, in that.
They wanted you to step out of your purpose.
Correct. And I was never interested in compromising that. So I've dated all men without hesitation.
I know that
actually, you know that for a fact. I love black men. Like it's not, this is just the person I, like who am I to deny love just because I don't like the wrapping paper the gift is in, you know? Ooh. So it's like, I'm thankful that I met this person because he's so incredible, but make no mistake, if you're somebody who's on track for billionaire status, he's not going to make as much as me. So should I be alone? Like, should I reject love just because that person can't make more than me? I'm telling you, I am blown away, and I may eat my words. That's the other part too. Is I get that. I hope this ages well. You know, I hope this ages well. In the age of Google, I hope this ages well.
Top.
You know, but what I will say is that I know that I'm going to get further in my union, partly because the areas in which I've learned submission with him are ones where I needed those in order to grow my business. So I needed to learn how to calm down and let other people make decisions. I needed to learn how to delegate. That very mindset was killing me because I was doing that in my home. I was doing that everywhere else in areas of submission where it wasn't fruitful. So in being in a union right now with this man and saying, hey, you know, I'm going to sit back and let you do. I'm going to sit back and let you decide. I'm going to sit back and let you make the calls as the head of this household. And this is without respect to money. I am now thriving more. I'm healthier. I'm letting go. I'm going further. I'm accomplishing more simply because I'm submitting without respect to money. And he's thriving as well. Like he wants to see me grow, you know, and he's helping me grow. I've done more in 2.5 years than I did in 12 years, you know, submitting to the wrong person.
You said something when you walked in earlier that complements that statement. You said, I'm doing more by doing less through submission. Through submission.
And people hear the word submit and they freak out about it. But the truth is, so many of us, especially as black women, we feel like we've been put, and the society is what affirms this, we feel like we've been put on this planet to work.
Yeah.
Whether it is for our children, for society. Look, rest is our birthright as well, you know, but rest doesn't come just because a man's going to pay for all my things and keep me.
Yeah.
I have true peace because I can pay for my own things. And I'm also with someone who, make no mistake, still takes me out, still does all those things, still provides, still pays for stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm able to really have ease in his presence because I know that ultimately he's in control and I'm okay with that. Like it's safe. It's safe for me. I trust him to have control over my home, my life, my body, you know, because I know that he's going to handle it well.
And I don't want to make this all about relationships, but you're hitting it and you're bringing it up. I think we need to ask the question.
Sure.
How have y'all had that conversation as a couple? Because I wonder from his perspective, how does he feel knowing that his future wife, his better half, makes significantly more than him? But every time I see you on the gram, every time I see you out, like he's there with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's serving. You know what I'm saying? But I also see you there, you serving, and I'm like, as a man, how do you think he feels internally? Have y'all had that conversation?
We have regularly. I mean, because I'm still a lot, you know? I mean, I have a big calling on my life, and when we met, he knew. I have things in motion and things that I'm doing, people I've been called to serve that I am not straying away from. And and I made it clear, if this is the role that you're gonna have in my life, you know, as my partner, there's no way I'm deviating from who I've been called to be by God. But, you know, it doesn't mean that I can't make space. And so when I tell you, he comes in, just the other day, he came in after working because he's a music producer. So he's California poor, which means, you know, every home there is like $1.5 million. You know, it's like that. But he came in, he's a music producer and he also is a performer. So he came in at 2 a.m. and then fell asleep on the couch, you know, listening to like music for other clients. So I mean, like from one job right to the other job. It's that work ethic that I respect because I recognize it. That's how hard I work. So I came in, you know, because I stay up for my man. The minute that the door opened, I say, hey, do you need food? What do you need when you come in? How can I help? Even though I worked a work day, because I understand it. So I'm coming in, he fell asleep on the couch, taking off his shoes, making sure he's good, you know, all of that, help carry him to the bed because he's just tired, his feet hurt, you know, and then the next morning I'll wake up, make sure he has breakfast. I'm tired too, but I have a little bit more than he does. He does the same thing for me. Like, it really is a union of 50-50. We leave our paychecks at the door, you know. That's not a title that matters inside the four walls of my home, you know, and that is, I think for him, he likes being with a strong woman. He said it himself. He's like, I want to be with a woman who's about something and who's doing something, and he's proud of me.
Yo, so let's come back to you. Mm-hmm. How did you get there? So like, how did you mentally get to the place to where, hey, I'm going to grow my business. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make millions. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to impact lives, because in your business, you help other entrepreneurs scale and make more money.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And so, and you spent a whole day with me, mm-hmm. giving me some concepts and some ideas a few years ago that I applied today that has helped me make millions, right?
Thank you.
How do you, as a strong, successful Black woman, well, I want to know this. How did you get to where you are mentally today on the business side? And then how do you, as that woman, literally know how to turn it off at the door and be a wife?
Right. So,
because I think that could be hard to do.
It is hard to do. And I think that what's interesting is I love business, and I've always been like this. I mean, I tell a story in my book, Nothing is Missing, where I was in kindergarten, and I started a group called the Trash Bag Brigade, where everyone had to bring trash bags from home, and we would pick up trash to help during recess and all of that. And when I started that, it started off with me helping, but it very quickly turned into me supervising. Like, I was born to be a CEO, I was born to run. And so that was who I've been since the beginning. I worked through corporate America, so doing what I do for entrepreneurs now as a corporate consultant it's what I did in corporate. So it's not a deviation from the norm. Yeah. But I recognize that that's not my job in the house. And it took me a while to learn that, that when am I going to turn it off? I hear this from women, not just Black women, but everyone all the time. We just want to turn it off. And I have a partner who, I'm not kidding, like, I literally will go home and there'll be food in the fridge, especially after like right now I'm seeing clients, I'm hosting dinners, I'm doing press, I'm on this book tour. I will not have to do anything. The kid will get to school, supplies will be handled, food will be in the fridge, all of that. And I don't even have to cut a check for that. I think some women hear all that and they think, oh, I have to pay for it. No, he will still cover it. Our life can be paid for on his dime. It's just that I get to sprinkle the sauce on it so we can really get where we want to go and live with ease, and that is the blessing. So we leave it at the door because it's not necessary. We're equals. We're equally yoked. I think that's what matters. Is people think of equally yoked as just starting with paycheck and salary, but money is literally just an earthly tool that's meant to do heavenly good. So if you're so obsessed with that tool that you're bringing it in as a point in the relationship, you are missing the entire point. I say that because I've had it. Do you know what I mean? A lot of women don't understand. I have been 0%, $24 in the bank account with debt, know? And I've also been the 1% private jets. Well, I am the 1% private jets, traveling and all that. And I can tell you, being rich is better. It's nice, more options. It's true. But only for options. Right. I have more options. I don't have a better life. I've lacked love. I'm in love for the first time. Like, the things that people are thinking they have to get money for before they can have, I am finally getting in my life after having it all. And that's, if there's anything I want people to take away from that, it's that maybe you need to reconfigure your priorities and recognize that you may actually get to the money if you focus on the things that are not monetary first. And that's hard to hear from a consultant.
You just said something that I think a lot of people need to hear that again. You said being in the 1%. Doesn't mean you have a better life. It simply means you have more options.
You have more options. And the book is all about that. My dad used to drive me around downtown DC and point to buildings, and he would say, the difference is that in America, you can clean one of these buildings, but you can also have your name on one. That's like literally how my dad was, cab driver, you know what I mean? I'm sitting in this passenger seat, and I didn't understand it at first because I was like, they're both jobs. It's not like one's better than the other. We knew people who clean buildings. That is honorable, honest work. But my dad was pointing out that you can have options in America. You have choices, right? And yes, we all are coming with societal things, systemic things that make it difficult for especially as Black women and Black people, it makes it harder. But we have options. And that is all that I ever want money to give me. I want to pick where my kid goes to school. I want to pick where I go on vacation. I want to pick how I get there. I want to make sure that I don't ever have to say, will it be the roof that I repair or will I get a new car? I just don't want to have to choose, And so that's where my focus is now with money. And furthermore, in terms of legacy, I want to be a problem solver in the world. I want to be able to give. And so that means if I see a problem, I don't want to worry about bureaucracy, paper, loans. I want to write a check and fix it. And I know that feeling being in this financial place. People don't know the places that my money has gone. And for me, that's what money is about now. It's not about the flex. It's not about what a man can do or what a man can't do. I've already experienced that.
Yeah.
I can do it all for myself, you know? So it's about the joy.
You know, I say something every single day when I wake up. I tell myself, hey, you're doing this because you want to do what you want to do, when you want to do it.
That's right.
With whomever you want to do it.
That's right.
However you want to do it.
You've even changed your conversation. Look, I'm going to call you out. You used to be very, very, I want to make sure I'm doing this for my wife. I want to make sure I'm building a life for my wife in my future. I just want to make, like, you know, we were on the same wave, like, I'm doing it for family. I'm doing this. Yeah. Look, all that stuff does matter.
It does.
It does. But at the end of the day, if we're not good here, you know, if we don't really believe that we're stable and believe in our ability to make money and believe in, like, the value of life outside of the money,
absolutely,
you always were going to be a good husband, with a dollar or without, you know? Yeah. So it's like everything else is just extra, you know? And if you end up with a woman who's a billionaire, I mean, did any of that even matter? It didn't.
Listen,
you know?
A billionaire? Come.
It's possible. They're out there.
Come. Oh, stay right there. You speak that on my life. Billionaire? Come. I will happily
You'll figure it out, right? You'll make it work.
Serve.
Listen. You know?
I don't see why. I don't want to go there. So y'all, you've been hearing us talk about her book, Nothing is Missing, her memoir. And what I love about this is you're going to learn more about her story, but through her story, you're going to get life principles and lessons that you can apply to your life today. And listen, Nicole is a guru when it comes to making money. She's a guru when it comes to building businesses. And so we're going to link her book in today's show notes. Please get a copy of that because I promise you it's going to be a blessing. You should see the book somewhere here on the screen. And this sister is winning. But I want to go way back. I mean, way back before you became an entrepreneur.
Sure.
I didn't know this, and you talk about this in your book. You quit on Periscope?
I did. Look, that was back when people were even using Periscope. The app doesn't even exist. I outlived the app.
And wasn't that a Twitter thing?
Yeah, it was a Twitter live stream. So it was one of the very first live streaming things that wasn't like for gamers.
Right.
And it was timely for me because everyone was really getting into video more and I just was not into editing. And so going live worked for me.
Wow.
I was going live like 2 to 3 times a day. And I was making, I think when I knew I was about time to quit, I made $11,000 in 1 week.
On Periscope?
On Periscope. I made way more than that since, like, on Periscope. But that was the start of it. When I was like, I just need to market my product. I don't have an email list. I don't know how to get it out there. So I just started talking about it. And I was reaching a lot of people, and I was able to convert.
What was your profession? When I was saying the name of the company, what were you doing before you quit?
Yeah, sure. So I used to work in healthcare as business development. I was the youngest executive in my company. So I was 26 when I came in, and the next person was like 30, 40. So I was brought in to help build a product.
So you had a high-paying, high-profile job.
And I scaled it with my team, obviously, from $2 million to $200 million. And so the turning point for me was when I went to my boss one day and I said to him, what comes next? You know, and like a classic 20-something-year-old. Now I wouldn't ask that anymore. I'm like, life, you know. But like, he looked at me and he was like, this is it. Like, the next person is here. You're not going to become a VP at 27. So he was like, this is it. Just do this for a while and then go from there. And I was kind of like, oh, well, that's terrible. I'm ready to do the next big thing. And that was when I started building myself a place to go. Okay. So people hear me quitting and they're like, oh, I should just quit my job. You know, Beyonce's telling me that they're not going to break my soul. You know, I got to get out of here, you know.
You won't break my soul.
Right, you know, and I'm like, that's not the energy. Build a place to go. You want to be the best boss you've ever had. So I'm grateful that I have always cut myself a paycheck, you know. I built my business debt free. You know, like these are all things that I'm so grateful for, you know.
You want to be the best
boss you've ever had. Some people out there are horrible bosses themselves. They don't pay themselves.
Never.
They don't give themselves good hours. They don't give themselves vacation time. They don't have staff. They don't give themselves resources and supplies. They bully themselves. They're all these things. And for me, it was so important that I want to be the best boss I ever had. And I gave myself a real shot at winning.
Yeah. How long were you working at that company?
Oh, gosh. I was at that company for, I want to say 4 or 5 years. Okay. But I'd been in corporate America doing everything from mortgage-backed securities to I had my securities licenses for 10 years. Okay. You know, I worked through college because my parents didn't have money. So,
because what I'm hearing from your story, which I didn't know this about you, Nicole, was You served, you learned, you thrived.
Yes.
Like you made an impact in every company that you was a part of.
Yes, absolutely. But what was different was who I was making that impact for.
Exactly.
So it's like when I was in corporate, it's not that I don't like corporations, it's just that I was like, I want to help regular people. My company is called Inherit Learning Company, and that's based off of Matthew 5:5, the meek shall inherit the earth. You know, I wanted to make sure that the skills that I was learning in corporate, I was giving to the people who could use it, the boardroom to the break room. So I really wanted to make sure that these people who didn't know simple things like what is pricing, what's a profit and loss statement, what's a balance sheet, what's permitting, like just simple things that are required to really thrive. Black women are becoming entrepreneurs at a rate of 9 times the average American, but we're failing faster too. And it's not because the products aren't right. It's not because we're not capable. We know how to work, as evidenced by everything. It's that we just don't understand some of the steps. We don't know where to start, you know, and it's grateful to stand in that gap for people. And that was what I was called to do. So I started doing that immediately. I went live and I just started teaching.
And I love that because you went live while you were working.
Oh, heck yeah.
You were building your stage, your platform, your business while still killing it.
80-hour weeks.
80-hour weeks.
I remember times where my husband, I call it my husband, where I would be up working, teaching myself coding on one page on YouTube, while typing in the code on the other, looking for the backslash I messed up because I was building my own site. He'd be asleep, he'd wake up, and I was still up. You know what I mean? Like, because that's how hard I was going. I gave myself a deadline because I'd adopted these 3 girls. They're looking at me. I had a 3-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 14-year-old. They're 2 going into college, 1 going to kindergarten. Like, I had to make decisions, you know? So I was working, and I mean, I wish I had that youthful energy again. You know what I mean? I was like, I miss those days, you know, but I was working, and then it came time to quit when people were watching me saying, well, if it's going so well, why are you still working 9 to 5? And I was like, you know what? You're right. What would happen if I gave myself 6 months?
You know, isn't it sad? And I'm trying to be very, very careful at what I'm saying here because I am a CEO and I do have team members on my team. But I when I started my business, I said, you know what? I don't want to be that boss.
Sure.
And you said something. You grew it from 2 million to 200 million. But you probably didn't see the significant pay raise.
No, not at all.
Going from 2 million to 200 million.
Not at all. And I think people feel weird about that, right?
No, absolutely.
They're like, oh, you know, especially as a boss, but it's recognized that you need to be paid according to what works for you for your dreams, goals, and aspirations.
Ooh.
So a lot of people think, oh, I will never shame someone who wants to be an employee and contribute their gifts towards a greater purpose. Because in exchange for that, they're not worried about, you know, paid time off and regular benefits or whatever else, you know, and I think that a lot of people lose sight of that in this age of be your own boss, have a side hustle, diversify, passive income streams. Look, again, Black women are entitled to rest. You don't have to be all the things and do all the things, you know, it's okay to work a regular job as long as you feel like, again, it's fruitful and meaningful and keeps you healthy. You know, I quit because I'm called and destined to be a CEO. That's like unequivocally part of my DNA, and I talk about that in the book.
Do you believe that every Black person or everybody is called to be their own CEO?
At some place in their life.
Yes.
And I think that's the part that a lot of people are confused about.
Yes.
Whether it's being a CEO in your church, CEO of being a stay-at-home mom, CEO of running your household, CEO of your own health. Like, there is a place in your life where you are called to be in charge and lead. It just may not be within entrepreneurship.
You're talking so good right there. And that is something that I've really been trying to do on my team, right? And it's like, hey, if we go from 0 to 200 million, I want their paychecks to reflect that we went from 0 to 200 million.
Of course.
I don't want
a commensurate bonus. It makes sense. The math makes sense around it. Like, I mean, one thing that I love about anyone who's ever worked with me is, you know, it's a biblical principle. I pay in full and on time. You know, so people who know me know that I am not stingy. It's one of the things that you'll know if someone's lying about me is if they say I didn't pay them or that I didn't give them enough or that I was stingy with the money or whatever. You're not going to catch me on that level. I cut my checks, you know, and I do that because, one, I grew up and I was raised off of tips. I know what it's like for my dad to have a lighter pocket and a lighter wallet, and it meant a lighter fridge, and it meant lighter field trips, and it meant lighter clothing. So I don't understand the distance that my money will go, but I recognize I have an opportunity to be a blessing in someone's life, and I should not withhold that. So I take it very seriously. And I've had people, there's a story in my book, I talk about someone who committed themselves to my business and my purpose. Her name's Gail, right after I quit my job. She called me up the same day. She was on that live and she said, Nicole, I'm called to help you. You know, I'm called to help you. And, you know, and I was like, I can't pay you. I told her right out of the gate, I said, I can't pay you. Like, I don't have the funds to do that and pay myself. You know, I'm prepared to do this alone. And she said, we will sort it out on the back end. I will work with you and we'll sort it out, you know? And I was like, okay, well, let's get started. To this date, we have made millions together and she is living her dream. You know, she is a stay-at-home, she's doing great. And anything that I have, anything her kids need, I will never eat and she doesn't, because I would not be here if it wasn't for her. And I say that day in and day out.
Man, this show right here, this is encouraging. This show,
so.
We didn't go the way I thought it was going to go.
Well, because, you know, we know each other. So it's like, I mean, people really are getting to listen in on a catch up because it's been so long.
So long since we've seen each other. Why the title Nothing is Missing for your book?
Oh, that's good. So I actually argued with my publisher about this. You've written so many books, so you understand that process. Yeah. And, you know, they wanted something a little bit more businessy and punchy and that sort of thing. And for me, it was because I always thought something was missing my whole life. When I was younger, my parents were telling me it's money. It's money, it's title, it's this. When I got into entrepreneurship, it was, well, I need this mentor, I need this stage, or I need this money, or I need this studio, or I need these followers, or I need this opportunity. And I know all of this sounds familiar because people who are listening in this season are saying the same thing to themselves. I would only get there if I had this thing. And it wasn't until I started losing my health that I realized, okay, the priority is being here. And if I'm here, then anything I need is in my presence, you know? And so I share through my book in this memoir different stories where people might look around and say to themselves, how are you gonna get out of this? You're looking at your daughter dying of cancer. You are putting your older daughter into treatment, you know, for recovery because of, you know, substance abuse. How could this be, Nicole? You have everything. Even when I had everything, I was still losing in certain seasons, you know? And now I probably have less visually than people think, you know, but it's by choice, you know? I call it stealth wealth, right? You know, and nothing is actually missing. Nothing is missing. You know, the anxiety that comes with scarcity still kind of reflects itself here and there where I'm like, is it enough? Will it sustain? But then I remind myself, no, I lack nothing. I have everything I need. And I hope that when people read this book, they realize that about themselves too. You know, one thing you talk about in your book that I appreciate was really understanding your self-worth. And the reason why I fell into debt, the reason why I made so many poor money decisions by trying to impress others is because I didn't really understand my self-worth. Sure. And I started noticing, I started making more money. My business started thriving more when I understood my self-worth. Yes. When I understood who I was, when I didn't allow the opinions of others to take over my thought process, to even take over how I looked at me. Because I remember someone telling me, and this hurt me internally, this particular individual said that I was not a leader. And I was like, wait, what? And I remember going back to one of my mentors, and my mentor said, well, that particular person is correct. You're not a leader to that person. Oh, wow. But Anthony, you are a leader to these people, to that person, that to this person, that I'm called to lead. He said, so if you're not called to that person, then that person can't read and understand you. And so my mentor was like, so don't allow that individual's opinion to come against how you see yourself. That's right. And your self-worth, because God fearfully and wonderfully made you the same way he made that particular person. And so when you said that, I was like, yo, Nicole, that's gold. It's true. I mean, people don't realize it. And I say this, and I try to be one who says it because you don't hear it from people who have stuff. You don't. You hear from people who are like, oh yeah, you don't need all that. You're trying to up level. You're trying to this. And you're like, you're just hating. Look, the stuff is a distraction. The people who are truly wealthy, and you learn this living in DC because wealth presents differently in Miami, Atlanta, LA, and DC. In DC, it is stealth wealth.
It so is.
People literally will not have brand names on, but have custom made Italian boots that look like regular boots, you know, made from the finest of leathers in Italy that cost more than your car. You know, like it is truly stealth wealth. And I have learned that all the material goods, all the stuff is simply a distraction. Doesn't mean you can't have it. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy nice things, but let it be elective. Don't let it be the thing that tells you about yourself. There's a line in my book that I say where your worth does not change from the moment you wake up to the moment you go back to bed. There's nothing you can do to increase it, and there's nothing you can do to decrease it. So your validation doesn't come from how you show up for your kids, your husband, your life, and your validation doesn't decrease if you're unable to do so. You are worthy just because you exist. And that is a thought process that completely changes how you show up in this world.
Y'all, this is Nicole Walters. You know what I'm saying? Her last name may be changing here in a little bit.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, my name's trademarked. I own it. So it'll stay the same. It's on brand.
So no, I ain't know. But wait a minute. No, we ain't messing up the bag, though. Hold up.
That's right. It's going to stay the same. It's going to stay the same. No, I'm going to take his name. But, you know, on stage, I'll always remain Nicole Walters.
Yo, man.
Because he's my husband. That's the submission thing. Just bringing it back to the beginning so people can finish in the comments on me.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I appreciate you for saying that.
Yeah.
You know, because I think it is refreshing to hear a successful woman say, hey, listen, I will still submit to a man that financially is not there with me, but that is the man who God has me to be with. And if that's that man, I'm submitting.
Yes, he's worthy of receiving that gift. That's part of the gift, right? Entirely, right? Is giving of yourself, you know? So it's hard because I think that you've heard the term pick me, right? Like that culture. But I like to say this stuff just because I'm not a pick me in any way, because what is a man gonna, there's literally no man who could impress me with a flex, you know, like, billionaire, whatever else. There's nothing they're doing that I can't do or understand. They can't take me places. Even my kids, like I've raised daughters where they're, you know, people's dusty son can't really do too much because they've done everything. So it's like, I truly am excited to be in a partnership with someone that I not only love, but I like him, you know? And it's priceless.
So with this book that we're going to link, what's next for Nicole? Where are you going?
Oh my gosh.
Tell people a little bit more about your business. How can they, how can they possibly use your services?
Yeah, thank you so much. So they can find me all around the internet at Nicole Walters. I am on tour this week, you know, so I am going to be in DC, Atlanta, New York, Chicago, Houston, LA, having conversations with different amazing people, Elaine Walteroth, Seth Godin, Alex L. in DC. So it's just, I mean, really powerful conversations about this book, about life. And if they enjoyed this, they'll enjoy that too. So hopefully I'll see them on tour. And then I'm also working on a new show with a major streaming network.
Yo,
so
are you serious?
Very excited about that.
Man, you got to come back on the show and promote that.
You're always lending your platform, and I appreciate you.
What?
I appreciate you. Because you also know I'm going to be in your ear, like, so what are we doing exactly, though? How are we scaling? How are we going up? Because, you know, nosy.
Yeah. I appreciate you, man. So what is one thing from this book that you hope people are going to get from it?
So this is a little bit of a pivot considering everything we've talked about doing. But the message also is grant yourself some grace. I think too often we're hard on ourselves and we don't realize we're learning, we're making mistakes, we are still working every single day, and that's enough. So be easy on yourself because you deserve it.
Grace. Submission. Get the bag.
That's right.
And quit your job.
Exfoliate, drink some water. All the things.
Y'all, we are going to put Nicole's information in today's show notes. You guys, go follow her on Instagram. You can definitely you'll learn more about her. You see her beautiful family. I mean, it's not just content that is transformational for you, but you'll also laugh. You'll also will see the joy that she has with her beautiful family and fiance. I look forward to meeting you one day, man. I'll be in California actually in a month. My brother is having a baby, so I'm going to go home. Yeah, he is. All of my siblings but me have children. And I'm like, how the oldest one? I gotta get a wife first. But you know, my sister has 4 kids. My little brother's having kids, first son, and so I'm gonna go home and spend some time with the family. So I want to meet you, fiance, when I come to LA. But for the rest of you all, hey man, follow her, get this book, learn. Remember, I've always said this. I believe wealthy individuals are readers. Not only do we watch Netflix and Hulu, but I'm learning the more and more that I read, the more ideas that I get, the more lessons I learn, and I'm able to bring that into my company, bring that into my business. I mean, it's helping us flourish. And so you can learn something from everyone who's on my show. I've been a little bit more particular about who's on and who's at the table, because this is my table. And I'm the head of this table, and I want to make sure whoever I bring into this and I expose you all to is someone who you can learn from, someone who you can follow and let them impact your life. So check out all her information. It'll be in the show notes. And Nicole, thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's so good to be here.
It just felt so refreshing to see a black woman say, I'm going to submit.
That's not all I said. Thanks for having me.
Yo, love y'all. We'll see you on the next show. Peace out.